So I always get asked, what do I start with? If you want to get into Flash, a lot of people are like, how do I start? What should I buy first? Honestly, a speed light is the first thing you should buy. Now, this is universal because it can go off camera and on camera. If something happens with your remote or something like that, you always have a flash. You can throw it right on the camera. Now, my number one choice is the V100 because it has the power. The color on it is spectacular. Not the color from that little front flash. That's horrible. Just take it off and throw it away. You use these two together as two different colors all the time. I can't stand that. Hopefully they can correct that. Everything else about this flash system is fantastic. I love this flash. That's all I have to say about it. This is the best speed light they ever produced. It has the power. I use this outdoors in sunny days. It just has the power to do a lot. The next light I recommend after the speed light is the 8200. Now, the 8200 Pro 2, I really think it is a worthwhile upgrade. And my favorite part of the upgrade for this is the little light that comes on, red, green, blue, to tell you what channel it's on. But the other things are fantastic too. But these two flashes as a system, absolutely the best. You can do just about most anything with this. Now, I use the 600s and sometimes the 400 when I'm doing a commercial job, when I need that depth of field and I need to stop that down quite a bit. They are, indispensable for me. But for every other job, I'm happy with these two lights, and I can do most anything I do with these two lights. Now, I'm a pro photo shooter, and people always ask me, like, why aren't you recommending pro photo? Well, the pro photo equivalent to this is what the B10, it's $2,000, or the B20, whatever it is now, it's $2,000. And this does so much more. The innovation behind this is incredible. Now, you'll always see me with the cord, the extension head on this. Now, when people say, oh, you lose power because the extension head, it's crap. The power that you lose, you're never going to see. It's just so insignificant, it doesn't matter. The positive side of this is hanging down on the bottom of my stand. This is up top. If the wind takes this over, this is going to hit the ground. This won't. I would rather this hit the ground. It's hit the ground many times. It's never broken. This, when it hits the ground, it's going to crack, break, or something's going to happen to it. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's so much weight up top, plus the modifier. Why not put this down, have this up, put the modifier in here? It's half the weight, if not less. That's why I use this system. I love it. And all these different accessories, the round head, the Barebulb, the stick light, the ring light. There's just so much that goes along with this. So it's a whole system you can build one at a time. But out of the box is fantastic. Now, this with the extension head, because I love it, and this is a great way to start. Anyway, let's get into a shoot. We're just going to use the 8200 and the V100 today, do a studio shoot, and just show you what it can do. And trust me, you can do this. It takes a little bit of practice, but even if you're starting out, is a good place to start is just putting somebody in front of your camera, turning on your lights, and playing with it. Let's get into the shoot. So this is double fun today because this is a new client day. And, we've never shot together, and you can see it in her face and her body language. She's stiff in front of the camera because she's never done this before. I think she's going to be amazing after this first shoot. Now, I do these first shoots so we get to know each other and she gets used to working with me. And of course, the studio itself. I guarantee our next shoot is going to be night and day over this one. But you can see she'll start warming up, and it's more conversation than it is shooting for this type of shoot. I don't change the backdrop. I start with that big umbrella, just not moving it, just so she can get used to the camera, get used to me. We have nice conversation, and that's it. It's just laid back and easy. Now, after we shoot a little bit, I'll show her some photos and say, hey, if you just, this one, for that one, it was relaxing her mouth because she was keeping her mouth, tight and like that little bit of a grin, a nervous grin. And you saw as soon as she relaxed her mouth, it was a night and day difference on her face. Now, she'll go back to that grin, I promise you. But as we keep going, I'll get the smiles out, get her body language just a little bit more relaxed. By the way, this is one without flash. Everybody always asks me for that, so I'm not forgetting to put that in. But anyway, so I just start with that big umbrella so I don't have to move it. And now I'm using a large silver umbrella with a diffuser over it, and it's just staying one spot. I don't want to use this for her. I want to use a smaller modifier, but we'll get into that after she gets a little bit more comfortable in front of the camera. Now, I always go into a full conversation after the first clothing change. I cut that part out because it was pretty long. I'll spend 10 minutes talking to somebody and 2 minutes shooting them because it's important. It does relax them. And, the key here is to ask a question and then shut up and listen. And, listen intensely. Make sure you have a conversation like you would have with a friend, not something you're just filling time with or, uh, you know, doing specifically to relax them. You've got to actually be interested in what they have to say. Anyway, so once I get her relaxed again, see it's still tight in the face. Um, I can switch modifiers next and start getting into that shoot. And again, nothing big, nothing major, just a little bit at a time to, break down that barrier because everybody has that barrier. It's funny, even photographers, when I'm working with other photographers, you put up a camera to them and they go into this tense thing because they're not used to it. They're not used to have a camera, pointed at them, and they'll go into the same tenseness as she does. And I do the same thing. When somebody points a camera at me, I just go immediately tense. So that's what we have to break down. And I'm right now, I'm like really happy where she's at already. And she's doing so much better. You can see it in her body language, in her face. She's getting a lot more relaxed, a lot more comfortable with the environment. So I'm thrilled with the progress so far. Now, getting back to the 8200 Pro version 2, uh, I'm just using the Barebulb and I have it in the umbrella. And I love the, umbrella with the diffuser over it, especially if it's a silver umbrella or just a straight white umbrella, a larger size like this, because I don't have to move it that much. And when I do move it, I make small moves as we go on and as they get more comfortable. Because big equipment, moving it around and so forth, they're already in an environment they don't know. They're working with somebody they don't know. So you really have to wait until you get to that point where you can go, okay, now I can switch this out. And right now I'm at that point. Again, as soon as I make this switch, I'm going to have to immediately go into the conversation again because, it is equipment change and it's they don't even think about doing it or they're not doing it on purpose or anything like that. It just comes natural to get a little tense during change. Because again, it's unfamiliar environment. I'm an unfamiliar person. So step by step, take your time and just work into it. That's the best advice I can give you. Now, the V100 in the back, I just have that bounce card, the black side towards the flash so it doesn't hit the backdrop, and I have it pointed at her. You can see it's a little bright. I have it down all the way down to 1/256th of a second, but I'm shooting at 2 f2 or 2.5 on the Sigma 50 millimeter contemporary L mount. And I'm shooting on the SL2, by the way. I'm shooting at ISO 64. Now, even at this, I mean, ISO 64, my flash power on the 8200 is probably 1/8 power. So it has plenty of light for a studio job. And on top of that, I have the grid on it and I'm still at 1/8 power. So it's an impressive little light. I know a lot of people want to go right to the 8400, 8600, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you think you're going to need that power down the road, definitely, look into that. But to start out, a speed light and an 8200 really can do magic for you in the studio. And it doesn't take much practice to get somewhat good at it. And then to get proficient at it, it takes, a lot more practice, but you can do it and you can do it quickly. Anyway, at this point, she was pretty relaxed and she was opening up a lot more. And we're having, a little bit more in-depth conversations, which made this shoot so much better. And immediately after we did that, I was just like, okay, we're going to be fantastic in the next shoot. As a matter of fact, it was probably an hour after this shoot was done. We already set up the second shoot. So I will definitely show you that as well, because I really want you to see the transition that she has went through this first shoot to this second shoot. Now, my next step here is to angle the lights in different areas and angle her in different areas so I can see what looks best on her. I want to move the light. I want to move her sitting, standing, move her to the left, move her to the right to see what works best for her. And I also, I ask her and I ask all my subjects, what side do you like best? Do you have a specific side that you like? I'll still do left and right because I want to see what their reaction is after they see the pictures. But you do really want to know what side they like best, so you're not shooting the wrong side the entire shoot, or putting more emphasis on the wrong side. But still shoot both sides just in case. You never know what they may think. Now I'm going to switch the light from left to right to center, again, just to see what looks best on her. If it's broad lighting, short lighting, and for me, the short lighting on this side is a little bit better for me than the broad lighting. But remember, all she has to do is turn her head the opposite direction. It's going to go to broad lighting versus short lighting. So, uh, but on this side, it works best for her and for me, from what I've seen so far on the images. Now, I'm waiting for her feedback on the images because I really wanted to know, which images she liked and which ones she didn't. So for the second shoot, obviously she turned her head to the other side, so it's broad lighting instantly. But as soon as she tells me what images she likes, I'll know exactly, the type of photos she likes and what she likes to see in her own face and expressions. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them below.